Dear students, I welcome you all to this new video lesson on the topic of project development. This is part 2. In the previous session we have discussed the first part of this project development, and it is a part of your curriculum and you have to develop a project using Python and MySQL. In this second part we will be discussing the practical approach towards project development. In the previous video lesson I have discussed the theoretical approach towards project development in detail. I think you have gone through that video and you are now well versed with all the points that were covered in the previous video. So let's get started with this part 2. So before going to the actual project, first let us discuss the project development cycle, or you can call it a software development cycle, which includes these 6 phases. Number 1, planning. Number 2, analysis. Number 3, design. Then implementation. Then testing and integration. And at the end, maintenance. So in the first phase, you plan how you will go through this project development. Okay, so you get to select the front end and the back end for yourself, which you are comfortable with. Okay, then the second phase is very important, analysis. Here you have to analyze your problem domain, the domain that you have selected as for which you are making this project. That domain or that problem should be analyzed by you in depth. The deep you analyze the problem, the better output you get as the result. So here you have to analyze, you have to sit with the problem and you have to have a brainstorming session with yourself about all the modules that will be there and what are the possible things that are hidden inside that problem and how you will go through that solution. Okay, so this phase is very important. Here you have to discuss with yourself all the aspects related to that problem that you have chosen. What the possible things can be there, what are the problem areas in that domain and how you will be going to solve that. Okay, all these things will be covered in analysis phase. The third phase is design phase. Here you design for this class 12th level. There are 2 types of designs. Number 1, database design. First you design your database, that the name, what will be the name of the database, what will be the tables inside it and the columns inside those tables. And I have already told you in the previous video lesson, whenever you design the database, you should note all those points in a notebook. You should note the name of the database you are taking, the name of the tables that you will be making, and the name of the columns that will be there inside those tables. Similarly, you should also mark the primary key and the foreign keys. All these things should be in black and white and that notebook should always be with you whenever you are working on your project, because it is very hard to remember the names of the tables and the columns inside it. Okay, and if you misspell them, then they will create problems. So the names of those tables and the columns should be written in a notebook, and those names should always be with you in your notebook whenever you are coding. So the first was the database design. Okay, so you think of the problem in the analysis phase, and according to the session that you had with you, or a brainstorming session, you decide all the columns, all the fields that you have come out with after that brainstorming session, and you note all those fields in a notebook, and then you divide those fields in various tables. There are 2 types of tables in your database. First type of tables will be master tables and the other type of tables will be transaction tables. Next, in design phase, we have the menu design. Here you decide on the what will be the options that you will be giving to your user in the main menu, what will be the welcome screen, how you will move from the welcome screen to the main menu part, what options will you be giving to your user, how you will be exiting with from this software, and what will be the sub menus under those main menus. So all these things are to be decided in this design phase, and these things should also be written in the notebook. Okay, the points means your main menu, number 1, number 2, the options that you will be presenting to the user, and then for each menu, if you are having a sub menu, then you should also write the sub menus for those main menus. Okay, and in the design phase you should also name the functions, because the number of options or menus you will be presenting to the user, the same number of functions will be there in your project. Okay, so with each option that the user will select, there will be an associated function with it, and you should give a proper, a meaningful name for it. So this was all in design phase, and after you have designed everything, then you go to the implementation phase. In the design phase, you can also try to develop a flow chart or an algorithm for your problem. In the fourth phase, that is of implementation, that is the coding phase, where you actually sit on the computer and start coding. Here for class 12 this year, you have Python as your front end and MySQL as a back end. So you will be developing your project in Python. So you will start coding. In the beginning, you will design the menus for it, and after that you will work on the functions one by one. Okay, and after you have completed your coding, then you will go to the testing part. You will test your software, your project that you have developed with many inputs, and you will check the output, whether it is giving correct output or not. Okay, so this is called testing, and then you will implement it. You will give it to your colleagues or your teachers for testing, to try out, and then after that, depending upon the feedback received from those users, you will have some maintenance on it. You can add some extra features on your project, or you can modify your existing project. So this was all about the project development cycle. So let's discuss the approach of project development using Python and MySQL through a sample project on inventory management. Okay, so I will be discussing all this practical approach with the example, the inventory management project that I have made for you, and you will be able to grasp all the practical aspects of project development through it. Okay, so students, let us begin with the actual screen that you will be seeing when you implement the software or the project that we will be discussing here. This is inventory management system, and this is the welcome screen and the main menu that I have designed. Okay, so in the beginning I have, because we are connecting with the MySQL database, so I have given this MySQL username, asked for the username and password, then I have given this welcome message, and these are the menus that I have chosen for my project. Here the menus are for new product entry, updating the product details, selling the product, searching the product, then the details of the stock. Then I have also made a menu for statistical report, where we will be using graphs, and as we have discussed in the previous video, I have this option to press 0 for exiting the system. Okay, so after this, the system is waiting for the choice to be entered. So the user is presented with this menu, and you have to select a menu option from these, and then you can enter the number and press enter, and you will go inside the system. Okay, so this was the actual first screen, home screen. Now we will be going to the actual coding part and we will discuss all the points of that coding. Okay, so let's start discussing the coding part with the main portion. Above this portion we have the functions related to all the menus that you have seen and the sub menus. So let's start with the main menu. This is the first function to be called. This is database function, which will enable the connection between the Python and the MySQL. So this is a better approach whenever you are working on a project. So in the beginning of the project you should call a function named database, where you should have the coding related to making the connection between your Python and your backend, that is MySQL in this case. Okay, here you will ask for the username and password from the user and you will connect to the database. Now we come to the menu part. While true, this is infinite loop, so that the menu keeps on repeating until the user presses 0 to exit. Okay, then we use the print function and some decoration here. You can try different styles of decoration. Then we have this menu portion, the menu that you have already decided in the design phase. You should type this inside these print statements, and for any other choice, if the user enters any other number, then you should give him an error message. So if this error will be reported if he inputs any other number, and after this again this main menu will be presented to him. Then we have the if elif else block to handle these choices. So if the choice is 0, then the connection that you have established in the database function will be closed and we will exit from the system. Okay, this is the exit function. Then we have minimize the lines inside this main part. All the lines of the coding are inside the functions. So the first choice, if the user presses 1, then the function product entry will be called. If the choice is 2, then product update function, then product sale function. Then choice number 4, that was for product search. I have already told you that searching and reporting are the two main options or the two main features of your project that will make your project unique. Okay, so in this choice number 4, a sub menu will be presented where you will be having various searching options. Let us see. I have made 5 searching options: search by ID, search by name, search by category, subcategory, price. All these things are the database fields. Now if the user presses 4, then he will be asked for the choice from these 5 options. Again, depending on his choice, we will call the search function, then the product stock function for stock checking, and then the statistical report section. And in this section also we have various options. I have given 6 options to view: sale of the day, sale of week, sale of month, stock status, price report, customer transaction report, and the option for exiting. In every menu or sub menu you must have an option for exiting that menu. Okay, and after that the choice will be demanded from the user, and depending upon the choice I have different functions for graph: day scale graph, week scale graph, month scale graph, stock graph, price graph, customer graph. And if the choice is 0, we will continue to the main menu. Okay, and if the choices are not met, you can write invalid choice, and you should tell the user that the available choices are from 0 to 6 only. So this was about the designing of main portion. So whenever you work on the project, at the beginning you must code this part only, because you have already decided the main menu, the sub menus, and the functions that are going to be called on the pressing of that particular menu selection. So you should write this main menu, and depending on this you should give the depending on the choices you should call the functions. Okay, so these functions should be noted in your notebook, and what you can do is, if you have not coded these functions, what you should do is you should have a comment in the beginning of all these calls, so that as you progress coding these functions you can remove those, or what you can do is you can just write the empty statement. I think you know the empty statement in Python. This is pass. So in every choice you should write, you can write pass, pass, pass. Okay, so the approach will be, we will be designing this project function by function. Okay, so we will be starting with the product entry function, then we'll go for product update function, then we'll go for product sale, then after completing all these three we will go to the searching, and then by reporting, and so on. So you must follow this approach of designing the project function by function. Clear? So let's start with the first function of our project, and this approach is very good while designing the project, that you should make a separate function for database connection. This is the function for establishing the database connection. Okay, so we will start discussing this database function with you. Okay, so this is the beginning of the project. In the beginning we have to import some libraries. Here we have imported this mysql.connector for connecting to our MySQL database, and we have named this as DB. Okay, then we will be using graphs, so we will require a library called matplotlib, and a module inside that is pyplot, where we will be plotting graphs. So we have imported matplotlib.pyplot as PLT. So this matplotlib library has all these functionalities for plotting. So if you do not have this matplotlib installed, what you can do is you can just go to a command prompt and type this. Open the command prompt in administrative mode and write this command. There should be an internet connection in your computer, so this will work. Pip install matplotlib. So this whole library will be installed in your computer. Okay, and another library that we have used is Pendulum. So if you want to install it, you can just write pip install Pendulum. Okay, so by these commands these two libraries can be installed in your system. So we have imported datetime library as well, NumPy or numerical Python or numerical calculation. While we are plotting, this NumPy is used. Datetime and Pendulum are used for in the module of plotting, where we have taken the day wise, month wise, week wise analysis of sale. There we will require this Pendulum and datetime module. Some functionalities of that, getting the first date of the month, last date of the month, that are inside this Pendulum module. And we have given is a global connection. We have made a variable con that we have initialized with none. So this con, this is a global connection variable for your project, and it will be available in all the functions of your project. That's why we have made it global. Now let's come to the first function, that is database. So in this function, the approach that I have taken is this database function will ask for the username and password of your MySQL, and if the system on which you are working and you are executing this project for the first time, it will create all the database and the tables itself. And if it is running not the first time, then it will not create them and it will just work on the previously existing database and tables. So this is a better approach according to me, that whenever you are working on a new system, you should not create the database and tables explicitly. That creation of tables and database should be done by the Python programming only. So this is very important function and you should concentrate on the use of it. So the prerequisite is that there should be MySQL should be installed in the system, and the advantage of this is, if you are working on your computer at your home, you will work, and after the completion of the project, if you want to submit your project and you want to give a demo of your project, then you can run this on your any PC and at your school or any other. Then these databases will be created on that system also. Okay, so the first thing is, we have created a user and password. For getting the username and password, we have accessed the global connection here, and we have tried to connect to the database using the username and password. And if the username password is incorrect, then it will give database connection error. You must know the username and password of MySQL before working on this project. So you can ask the system administrator if you are working on the system of your computer of your school, and if it is your own system, then you must know the username and password. Basically these are root and root. So this is the first one. Whenever you open the project, the database will be created. So you should focus on this line, if not exists. So this is very important. If the database is not existing in the system you are working, then it will create the database, otherwise it will not create. Otherwise it will just go to this use inventory. I think you know the commands to create a database and use a database. These are in MySQL. So you have created a query, then you have executed this query. So if the database is not existing, it will be created, otherwise it will not be created and it will be just used. Next, you have already designed your tables. So you will check for the existence of the table. How you can check? You can write this command, show tables, like the name of the table you want to create. Okay, so if there is a table inside that database called items, then this new table will not be created. Okay, otherwise if the result is true, if there is already existing, then you should pass, then you should go forward. Otherwise, if the table is being created for the first time, then you should write this create table query of MySQL, and in this create table query you should write all the column names with their constraints. Okay, you can see product ID, PID, character 10, primary key, and so on. You can easily check down this syntax, and after creating this query you can execute it and then commit. This is very important. After committing, your table will be created. One thing to note is, this table will only be created if it is not already existing. If it is already there in the database of your system, it will not be created. Okay, it will be just passed. So we will come to this function, this line. Next, we will do the same thing for a new table. This is the master table, items. Here we have PID as primary key and the product name, category, subcategory, quantity, price, remarks. Okay. Next we have the second table as logbook. I have already told you that you must create logs of all the transactions that are being taken place that are affecting your database. So again we check for a table. If it is existing, it will not be created, otherwise you will create the table. It will be having a log ID product ID that has been affected by that transaction, on which date the log has been created, and the remarks. Okay, so this is the query. Next, this is a transaction table where all the monetary transactions will be noted down. These are the log table in which all the things will be logged. Okay, if you have updated any product, if you have deleted any product or inserted any new product, then all these things will be inside this logbook. Another, if you are making any monetary transaction, then all those transactions will be inside this transaction table. Again, you can check down the syntax of this table. Transaction ID that will be connected with the product ID, then transaction date, quantity, amount, customer ID, which customer has been involved in that transaction, okay, and the name of the customer. Next we have billing table. This will generate the actual bill at the end. When you go to a mall and you purchase a lot of products, and at the end you come to the billing station and you get a complete bill. So this table billing will be dealing with all the products that you have purchased in a particular go, and it will generate your bill. Okay, so it will be having a bill ID, customer ID, bill date, product name, quantity, price, and total. Okay. Next we have a table for getting the details of the customers that are visiting our mall. So this is customer table. Same thing, if it is existing it will not be created, otherwise you will create it. It will be having customer ID. Here the customer, if the customer is visiting for the first time, it will ask for the customer name, it's his mobile number, city, and you can give the default city. So if he visits again, then our system will ask for his mobile number, and it will check that the person is already existing, so he will not ask the other details again. Okay, so this customer ID will be auto generated by our system, but it will be auto generated, it will not be entered. So these are the tables, and at the end these are the tables: customer, then we have billing, then we have transaction, then logbook, and tables, items. So these are the tables that we are using. The best part is that we are actually creating our database and the tables from our programming part. So we do not have to open the MySQL and then we have to type all those commands. That thing will be avoided. We will create all those things through our programming. Okay, so you should go through this, and you should adopt this approach in every project that you make. This is very good, because whenever you port your software to some other system, then you do not have to make those databases and tables by your own. Your system, that means your project, will make it for you. Okay, so this is the database function. Now we have the first function, that is product entry, where the details of the product will be entered. You can see we have asked all the details related to this, and we have created a record tuple in which we have pasted all these values that we had got from the user. Then we have created a parameterized query using these signs, placeholders, and then we have executed this query, and these placeholders will be replaced by the values from this tuple. This first one will be replaced by PID and so on. So this thing you know from the MySQL part. If you do not know, go to the video where we have discussed this MySQL portion, and you will come to know how you work on this parameterized query. Then you execute it. So whenever you insert a new product, the items table will be updated, and concurrently the same logbook table will also be updated, And how we will generate the log ID? It is this: we will check the logbook table and we will select the maximum log ID in that logbook. Okay, so if the logbook is not having any records, then this first field, that was log ID, will be 0, will not be there, that means it will be none. Then we will set log ID is equal to 1. Otherwise, what we will do is, we will increment the maximum log ID that we have fetched from the database. We will add 1 to it, and that will be our next log ID. Okay. Now, the date time where when the the product have been inserted will be we will get from this command, datetime.now. This function, now function, returns the current date and time. So we will have this remark, new product entered in stock, and we will create a tuple, and using the parameterized query we will be inserting this into logbook also. Please note, as we will be inserting a lot of records in this, so whenever you create a cursor, it is better to use this buffered is equal to true. Okay, many a times when you will run this project and you will enter a lot of records, then this cursor creation might create a problem. So buffered is equal to true means the same cursor will be used for entering the different products. Otherwise, different cursors will be created and you have to close them also. So the same cursor will be continued for all the entries. So this is very important. Buffered is equal to true. Okay, so you should write this when you are working on a project. Then you will execute it, and after that you will write record inserted successfully, and you will commit it. Otherwise, you will write database insertion error. Okay, so this else is not of this, it will be related to the beginning part where we have tried to insert it here. Row count is equal to 1 means if you have successfully inserted a record, then it will be row count will return 1. That means one row has been updated, and you will, otherwise you will say database insertion error. So this is the second function. Now we come to the product update function. Here we will modify the details of the product depending upon the product ID. You will ask the product ID, enter the product ID to be updated. Then you will create a query, parameterized query, and you will use this. You must know the use of this. Whenever we are working on a single element tuple, we have to put this comma. Okay, so you will execute it and you will get the details. If the product is not existing, that means the product ID is not available, you will get this message, no such product exists, please enter correct product ID, and you will go back to the main menu. Otherwise, you will ask the user to enter the correct values from, but you will not ask the PID again, because the PID is being auto generated, so it will remain same. But if you want to update it, you can get the new product ID and it will be updated, and then you will get new name, new category, and so on, and you will run the update query. In place of insert into query, you will run update. Okay, so all these things have been given in this tuple, and we have used this parameterized query, and we will run this. Same thing, if the query has been executed successfully, this row count will return 1, and the logbook will also be updated, that we have updated, product details updated. Same, the remark will be changed, the remaining details will be same, and we will also write that record updated successfully. If the record has not been updated, then we will write database updation error. Then we have this third function of display, where we will display the products. Okay, this is the query, select query. We will just display the product ID and product name. Okay, we have used fetch all function. This is just a decoration, the headings and the lines, dotted lines beneath it. Then we have given this just a decoration, that the first product ID, product name will be followed by this dashed lines, and all those products will be displayed in the monitor, and at the end there will be a dotted line. So this is a very easy function to display all the products that are available in your inventory. Okay. Next function is of customer entry. All these functions relate to the menus that we have designed in the beginning. In this customer entry, whenever a customer will buy a product, this function will be called, and if the customer is a new one, then you have to provide his name, mobile number and city. The customer ID will be auto generated by getting the maximum customer ID from the customer table, and if the user is the first one, then the customer ID will become 1, otherwise the maximum customer ID will be incremented by 1 to become the new customer ID. Again you create a tuple and you write a insert into query. Clear? And then after execution of this, you can return the customer ID, the new customer ID that has been created, or existing customer ID. Okay, so next function is bill display. This function will be called at the end of the billing session. When you have purchased all the products, then this bill will be generated depending upon the billing table. Okay, so a bill ID will be generated, and on the basis of that particular bill ID you will search the billing table, and you will display all the products that has been recorded on that particular bill ID. If you are visiting today, if you purchase 5 products, the bill ID will be same for all those. If you visit after 1 hour or you get a new bill, then the bill ID will be different. Okay, so if the bill ID is not existing, it will give no such bill details available, and if the bill ID is available, you will display this bill ID, the date of billing, customer ID, then you will display. These will be displayed only once, the bill ID, the billing date, the customer ID at the top, and after that you will get the bill. The bill will contain product name, product ID, price, quantity and total. Okay, so this is the function for generating a bill. So the functions may change depending upon your project that you have adopted, but for this type of system where you are working on an inventory, these functions will be there in your project. Next we have the sales function. This is the most important part, where we will sell the products. So in the beginning all the products will be displayed, because you do not remember the product ID of all those products. So the product ID will be displayed with the product name, so you can check which type of product you are selling. Okay, so you will get the new bill ID whenever you are selling something to someone. A new bill ID will be generated. Okay, after that you will check, you will ask again and again, because the customer may want many products, so this infinite loop is there while true. That means until the user says that to you, until the user asks you to stop, you will continue asking him the which product do you want. So he will enter the product ID. Okay, if the product ID is not existing, then it will give this error message and it will go to the main menu. Otherwise it will give you the name of the product, the category, subcategory and the quantities that are there in your stock. Then you will ask for how many quantity you want to buy. If the quantity is more, then you will tell him that the requested quantity is not available. Otherwise, and you will ask for the correct quantity, and the amount will be quantity into price, and you will also tell him that you have to pay this much amount before moving forward. Okay, so when he is ready, you will update the stock. This is the updation of stock. You will deduct those many items from your stock. Okay, the items table will be updated and the transaction table will also be updated. Okay, because a monetary transaction has been taken place, so these things will be updated in your transaction table also. Okay, and at the end, when the billing is complete, the billing table will be updated depending upon the bill ID that you have generated. The bill will be generated and displayed to him. Okay, and you will ask again and again. Whenever he purchases one product, the billing table will be updated, the transaction table will be updated. Okay, the items table will be updated. These are the master tables that will be updated again and again. Then you will ask him, the user, do you want to purchase more? Yes, then he will go to the, again ask the quantity that you want to purchase or the product ID, and if he says no, I do not want to purchase any product, then you will ask him the mobile number. Okay, if the mobile number is already existing in the customer table, you will not ask anything, all the things will be updated. And if his mobile number is not existing, then you will ask him his name, his city, okay, and you will add that customer in your customer table, so that the next time he visits your store, you do not have to ask anything from him. Okay, the ID, the name and the city will be printed in your bill, and you will say that thank you for your purchase, please visit again. And in the transaction table also, you will update that customer ID, which customer has done all those transactions. So this will be an update query. Okay, and you will have to update the billing table also, because it is also having the customer ID, which customer has done all this billing. Suppose the customer comes after 1 month and asks you to show his bill dated on the date suppose of today. So you can just enter the date and you can get the complete bill that he has. All the bill will be having all the details that the person has bought. Okay, so billing table should also have that customer information. The transaction table should also have the customer information. Okay, so at the end your bill will be displayed. The complete bill will be displayed, and in the background all these tables will be updated. Cursor will be closed and we have the next table, product stock. This is stock page where you will display all the stocks that are available. Okay, name, category, subcategory, current stock. So this is to print the stock. Next, this is search by ID. If you have gone to the search menu and selected search by ID, you will be asked to enter the ID of the product, and depending upon the ID you will display the details of the product. Okay, if the product ID is not existing, it will tell you that no product found. Then again you can search by name. The query will change to the where part will be changed. Where here we are having PID, here we will be having P name. Okay, the remaining part is same almost. Next, search by category. Here we will be entering the category of the product to search. Then similarly we have search by subcategory, search by price. Okay, so you can have as many options as you want. This the function for the getting the sub choices of searching. Okay, if the choice is 1, then project search by ID and so on. Then this is for graph. If you want to have the stock graph, then you will execute a select star query. All the items from the items table will be updated in this result set. Then you will have two empty lists, products and stock. Okay, then you will get all the products, that is product ID, in this PDS list and the corresponding stock in this STK list. Okay, and then you will plot it. This is PLT that you have imported in the beginning, PLT dot bar H, horizontal bar graph. This will give you the bar graph between the product ID and the stock. So you will get a bar graph displaying the stock of each product, and the Y label will display product and the X axis will be displaying available stock. So these are the functions inside this plotting part. Okay, these are very easy and this is nothing much you have to worry about. Just you have to focus that these things, these two should be lists. So you should append the data in the empty lists, and after the data has been updated, you just plot it. This bar H will be giving you the horizontal bar graph. Okay, or if you want to have a simple bar graph, you can just write PLT dot bar, and you should give the axis value X and Y. Okay, and after you have given the labels, you should write PLT dot show. Then only the graph will be displayed, otherwise not. So this line is very important to display the graph, and then at the end you should close the cursor. Then if you want to have a price graph, again same, product and price. Okay, you can plot the bar graph and you should write PLT dot show. Then customer graph, depending upon the customer and the amount the customer has bought, the axis will be having customer names or customer ID and the total amount. You can see here this is customer name and the sum of amount. So if there are 5 customers of your store, in your store, then their name and the total amount of purchase that they have performed. Okay, that will be plotted in this bar graph. X axis will be customer name, Y axis will be amount. These are the labels for axis and Y axis, and you will show. This line is very important. If you do not write this line, nothing will be displayed. Okay, then we come to day sale graph, per day sale. So you use this now function, you get the date, today's date, date time dot now will give you the date and time, and through this date function you can get the date component only. Okay, so write this query, this now, and from the transaction table all the queries, all the sales that have been done today will be fetched, and the product IDs will be in this PID, and the quantity that has been purchased will be in this quantity QTY list, and you will append it and you will execute it, and you will have a bar graph between the products and the quantity. So depending upon that product ID, you will get the products from the items table, because the the transaction table is not having the name of the product, it is only having product ID. So the corresponding product ID, you will get the corresponding item name or the product name from the items table through this loop. Okay, and then you will plot the graph between the product name and quantity. You can also try product ID and quantity graph. If you do not want to go inside this loop, you can have the product ID and product quantity graph, but it is hard to recognize the name of the product from product ID. That's why I have used this part to get the name of the corresponding products for this PID list. Okay, so this is the day sale graph. Then we come to week sale graph. Here we use the pendulum library. So you get the pendulum dot now, it is today, and to get the starting day of this week, you will write today dot start underscore of week. Okay, so you will get this, the starting day of this week, and also the ending day of the week. These functions are not available in the date time module, so we have to use this pendulum module. Okay, so then you change this today into string, date string, and the start and end to the date string, because these will be date values, so you have to change it into a date string. Then similarly, as the previous plotting part, you will run the select query from transaction, where the transaction date is between the start date and the end date that you have got from this pendulum module, the starting of this week and ending of this week. Okay, so then you will plot plt.plot date and the amount. Okay, so it will tell you the sales in this week. Okay, Sunday this, Monday this, so this will be a graph, this will be a line graph. Okay, so the lines will be of this dashed type, and marker will be, the points will be like this O. Okay, the color will be blue. X label, Y label you already know, and you will show this plotting, so this will be displayed. This is similarly the month sale graph. Here you will write today dot start underscore of month, so you will get the starting date of the month, similarly the end date of the month. Similarly you will plot this. Okay, so after plotting this, you will get the month wise sale. So this was all about this project that we have discussed. I think you can have the idea how this project has been made. This project was developed in a span of 3 days and just 2 or 3 hours per day. So you can develop a project in a week if you are having the required knowledge related to Python and MySQL, and you should try the same approach that I have tried, and it is very easy to develop a project. It is not a big deal to develop a project. So you should follow the basic path. The basic path is first to design this main menu and the sub menus, and you should also name the functions for all the menus and sub menus you want to start. And please note, this database function is very important. It will be a bonus for you whenever you tell the examiner that this thing is different in my project, and why it is different, why it is helpful, I have already told you. So this is how you develop a project. So the basic thing is to first to design proper database, the name, the tables, the columns inside it, their data type, their size, all the things, then the main menu and the sub menus, and then you go to the coding part function by function. Okay, code one function, try it, execute it. If it is correct, then go to next function. Do not try to execute to code all the functions together. Okay, try one function, use the empty statements whenever if you are working on a particular function, and in the other function calls just write pass. Okay, so work on one function at a time and complete it with all the functionalities. Then try it, execute it, check the database connection is working or not. If the data is being updated in the database or not, you can check it. Okay, if it is working properly, then move to the next function, and so on. You will be able to complete your project. If you try to work on all the functions at a single go, it will be impossible for you to tackle all that pressure. So the best approach is to go function by function. So first you should assess what modules and what libraries do you want in your project, and depending upon those you should import them. Okay, this database connection is very much important for MySQL connectivity. Then you should have a global connection so that you can use the same connection in your entire project, and then you should have a database function that works on this for database connectivity. Okay, let me show you some outputs of this project. Let us run it. In the first run it will take some time because it is establishing the database connection. So it will, at the beginning it will ask for the username and the password, and this is the inventory management page. So let us check the product stock details. Let us check. Let us enter the number 5 and you get this list. Okay. Then let us see some statistical reports. We go to option number 6 and this is our option: sale of the day, sale of the week, sale of the month, stock status, price report, customer transaction report. Let us see the stock status is 4 and you get this graph. Okay, this is how the graph is displayed. It is very important and is very effective in your project. Then let us see some statistical report, suppose price report. So this is the price report of the monitors. And if you again go to the same menu and you check the customer transaction report, so this is the graph, the customers and their total transaction that they have made from your store. Okay, so this is how this system will work, and through this I have told you the practical approach to programming, the coding of your project. So this is just a demonstration so that you can get the feel of the project development. So at the end of this video lesson, I will request you to follow the prescribed approach that I have told you, and following that approach you will be able to make a very effective project that will be having lots of functionalities and many things that are different from the projects that are already available in the market. So what we have to do is search the internet for existing softwares or projects on your domain, the problem that you have selected. Try to get the feel of those and get the options or the menus that they have used, that you can use in your own project, and try to think of something extra. Suppose this statistical report that can be different from those others. Okay, so the searching criteria that are there, you can increase them. Okay, so from internet you can get the options from the menus and the sub menus from those projects, but do not copy their code. Try to develop your own project. That will be a milestone for you. And if you have studied Python for 2 years in 11th and 12th, it will be very easy for you to design a good project on your own. It will not take more than a month for you, but you should be consistent with your project. You should give a continuous time for that project development, and it will test your entire knowledge that you have gained in these 2 years. Okay, so with this we come to the end of this video lesson, and I wish you best of luck for your project development task.